up everybody else or I come here trying to lift myself up, it ain't going to edify or bless nobody. But if we'll lift him up, we'll see the effects of it. You know what? Yes, sirree. All right. Well, surely anybody could have found John chapter 6 after all that. Jesus had just fed a bunch of folks with some loaves and fishes. Then going down in verse 16 of chapter 6, said, when even was now come, his disciples went down to the sea, entered into a ship, and went over the sea toward Capernaum. It was now dark, and Jesus was not come to them. Now, I want you to take all this in. He had just left a multitude of people there, and said it was evening time, and Jesus went down into the sea, went down by the seashore, and entered into a ship, and went over the sea toward Capernaum. It was now dark, and Jesus was not come to them. And when his disciples had gone, and they was wondering, and the Bible said, and the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. So when they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea, and drawing nigh to the ship, and they were afraid. And he saith unto them, it is I, be not afraid. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at land, whither they went. Now, the next day, the day following, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was none other boat there, save that one whereinto his disciples were entered, and that Jesus went not with his disciples into the boat, but that his disciples were gone away alone. Now listen, folks, a lot of times, I was telling someone yesterday, or today, we was talking, I said, a lot of times, it took me a long time to learn, it's not so much what we say or how we say. How many of you has got on an individual or individuals for cussing? That's the best way to start a fight, especially if you do it in front of somebody. I learned that, right off the bat. If you're going to make any headway at all, Terry, you're going to get them to the side. Say you're offending me. But anyway, how many of us realizes that folks is listening and watching? They're knowing how we react, Terry, when something is said, and they're watching, just like the seedman up there, Lee, when you was talking about baling hay. There was a lot of folks watching, whether they said, oh, Lee and his family's been up there baling hay. I bet they don't go to church tonight. I guarantee you somebody up White Oak, and I don't really blame them. They've been out there in that heat all day, and they got to get that hay. They probably won't go, but you know what? Somebody was watching you and checking. They was watching Jesus, and they couldn't figure it out, Terry. Now they said, oh, there they go again. But they watched every little detail. They saw that his disciples had took the long boat. He didn't go with them. And they were standing there watching. And said, howbeit there came other boats from Tiberias, nigh unto the place where they did eat bread, and after the Lord had given thanks. When the people therefore saw that Jesus was not there, neither his disciples, they also took shipping and came to Capernaum, seeking for Jesus. Well, right then and there, Jesus had a ministry, Terry, that he didn't have to go drag them in. They came looking for him. They was curious to wonder what in the world was going on first. Do you realize that's the same thing will happen here? That we can make folks curious to what's going on in church. They'll know, Rick, we can drive, we can get real quiet, we can go to sleep, and we can do nothing, just mind our own business. But I'll tell you what, when we invite folks to church, Bobby, folks is driving by, it's hard to tell how many people drove by this church this evening, this Wednesday evening, and looked up on the hill. Wonder how many's at church tonight. Wonder if I see so-and-so's car. If we will make this thing exciting, people will come looking for it and come wonder. Nothing else, just to be nosy. Amen? And while they're feeling their nosy needs, we can win them to the Lord. Crazy creature. The people therefore saw that Jesus was not there. Didn't want nothing to do with him. Wasn't interested in what he was doing. Didn't have nothing to do with what he was saying, Melissa. But they knew he wasn't there. So they're going to go find out where he's at because they know something's going on wherever he's at. Neither his disciples, they also took shipping and came to Capernaum seeking for Jesus. When they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said unto him, Rabbi, when camest thou hither? Jesus answered them and said, Verily, verily, I say unto you. Now listen, this is tough. And I guarantee you he made some faces turn red that day. He said, you wasn't very worried about me. He said, I say unto you, ye seek me, not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you, for him hath God the Father sealed. Then said they unto him, What shall we do that we might work the works of God? Jesus answered and said unto them, This is the work of God, that ye believe on him whom he hath sent. He told them, he said, you ain't coming out worshiping me. He said, you're ready for another meal. Amen. And that's the same way it is today. Oh, dog, that's the best bread I ever eat in my life. I'm going to go get me some more of that. Right. He knew their hearts. And he knows, and folks say, I've had folks tell me, say, preacher, I don't know, I just can't get anywhere with God. God knows our heart.